guys, let's start playing with our IKEA craft supplies. As you can see, I bought a few different things the last time I was at IKEA. We're going to set the acrylic paint aside and use that for another video. So today we're going to be playing with their watercolors. I really actually love this collection because rather than the typical primary colors that we're used to getting, this you almost get like a set of pastel watercolors and a set of almost neon watercolors. I'm also going to be using their brushes today for this project. And today we are in Romans chapter 12, verse 9, verse 10, it says, "Be devoted to one another in love." And I wanted to kind of just do something kind of simple-ish so that the technique and the watercolor and that kind of thing was what we were focusing on today. So it's not going to be a big drawn out project. But I just wanted to focus on that particular verse for today. So since we are using watercolors, I'm definitely going to protect my Bible by putting that wax paper in. So first thing I noticed about these colors, like I said, I am loving the neons that are on there. So there are 14 total colors, so 7 kind of in that neon persuasion, and then 7 in that kind of pastel. I did kind of a little test on this piece of paper, so I added water to each of them and then kind of just did some little draggy marks just to kind of get an idea of what the color saturation would be before I put them in my Bible. And you can see, even though in the pans they do look very neon, they definitely come out a lot more muted of a neon. I'm not mad at it. It definitely does not have as high of a pigment quality as a lot of watercolors that I have. One thing I did notice that is a little difficult too is to get the pigment started. All that water had been sitting on there, and I still had to constantly be adding water in order to get pigment to release and for me to be able to use. But the colors themselves are very pretty. For this project, I'm using 6 of the kind of neon colors and just kind of doing a stripey situation just to kind of test out all the colors. This is one of the brushes from IKEA as well, and like the width, I don't know how big it is. It's about an inch probably, but it's perfect for doing this kind of just a little, I don't know, just a little fun stripey technique. I cannot remember how much they cost, but I will double check those and I'll put them down below. I don't think they were more than like $4 or $5, and the brushes were like $3. So super inexpensive, and the markers we're going to use in a bit, I know were less than $5. I'll find the exact prices. Look down below for those. But as you can see, I went back and just continued to add some layers, which really helped kind of build up that color. Definitely not the saturation you're going to get from a typical watercolor, but for the price, they're fun, and you get 7 colors in neon and 7 colors in those pastels, which I haven't tried yet, but maybe those will be in another video. So you can see I'm just layering in those colors to kind of give that stripe kind of situation. I love it. I think it's kind of fun. I'm not mad at it. I would obviously like the colors to be a little bit more saturated, and I definitely would like the pigment to surface and be a little workable faster than it really was. But for the price being like less than $5, I think it's super fun. And when we went, we bought other stuff, and we had Swedish meatballs for lunch. So, bonus. So I'm kind of trying to figure out what I want to do next with this. Do I want to just leave the stripes, or do I want to do a little more? And I can kind of see that while I'm waiting, the water has kind of buckled the paper just a little bit and caused the colors to kind of warp together. So I wanted to go ahead and dry it and just clean up any areas that might have blended kind of how I didn't want them to. Looking at it from here, the yellow and that green look almost identical. I swear they're supposed to be different colors. So I'm just using my heat gun just to dry it off so we can kind of move along to the next portion of this. And that is where we're going to grab the markers from IKEA. Let's see how many there are. I actually am not even sure. Let's count. let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. There's 24. And, and they're in horrible packaging. I don't know if you can see that, but it's literally just like cellophane over a plastic thing. Yeah, the packaging is horrible. So I had these cute little sticker flamingos that I'd been wanting to use in something, and I thought this whole idea of loving one another and being devoted would be and using this kind of neon color scheme would be super fun to use this for. So you can see I'm looking for a color to use, and I'm using that light blue. The tips of these markers, I don't even really know how to describe them. They are pointed, but they're like a fat pointed. So imagine the top of like a circus tent, how it's pointed and then goes out and then down. That is exactly what the tips of these markers are like. So they are not the easiest to maneuver sometimes. You have to really stand up on the tip to get that fine detail. And so you're going to see here in a minute when I'm trying to do the title, I'm not, it doesn't have the workability that a lot of more expensive markers do. It's really hard to get a good line and a good just contrast of lines. So, I'm just kind of playing. They're not bad though. I mean, especially for the price point of being like $4 or $5 and you get 24, they're pretty fun. They're not bad. I don't hate them. I probably will use them again. So I'm just using the black to make my title and just to add some little doodles. Like I said, this project isn't going to be super complex. Really, I just wanted to show you guys just the ability of finding art supplies maybe in places that maybe you didn't normally think of. I mean, who buys art supplies at IKEA? I mean, come on. But I do like these, and for the price, and if it's something you're wanting to try, I'm always a firm believer in not buying expensive art supplies. That little thing that I just did right there, I'm going to interrupt myself, is I did a test and I did notice that they reactivated really easily on the paper. So they are definitely something that you want to put down and then not use any other water on. I'm doing a little splatter painting here just to add some more color and add some more depth, but I'm not doing any full swiping kind of painting because that little test showed me that they reactivate and move really easy if I were to put water on them. So just kind of keep that in mind. Some watercolors, depending on the pigment amount, will do that. Again, we've established these are not super high in pigment, but they are fun, especially for the price point. And back to what I was saying before I interrupted myself, I am a firm believer in not paying a lot for your art supplies until you know if it's something you're going to love. I don't want anyone to go out and say, I want to try watercoloring and think they have to buy a $40, $50 set and then go home and realize they absolutely hate watercoloring. So buy the inexpensive set. Play with it, figure out if you like it, figure out if it's your jam, and then once you figure that out, awesome, then upgrade. You might be someone that hates markers, so you play with these and you're like, this is not my jam, I don't want to color, I don't want to doodle. Awesome, you're not out that much money. So that's just my little, I don't know, soapbox tirade moment for supplies. I don't know. That's who I am. So I'm kind of just adding some little doodles. I felt like the background felt very um, naked. And so I'm just adding some little X's, some little dots, and just kind of differentiating that background into like more stripes and less of kind of like a wash of color, and just giving them a little texture and adding some little dots and some little X's, almost like stitching. So it almost gives it the background kind of a quilt kind of feel to it. Again, these markers aren't bad. They're actually writing really well over the watercolor. I'm interested to try them over acrylic paint and see how well they do and if they smear or if they hold up and that kind of thing. So I think that'll probably be the next one. And of course, we've got those IKEA acrylic paints to try. So it'll be great to kind of try those together and see how they work together. And so I'm adding some more lines that, because of the way that tip is, how it's that kind of circus tent point, it was a little difficult to do some of these in the crease. But all in all, not bad, and I think they're totally worth it if you want something new to play with. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you hit like and subscribe, and join me next time in the Creative Life Studios.